One round left to play this week and only one spot left in our first round, in our Sweet 16. Boylan has 150, Oregon has 100, but in the Mercy Health Final Challenge, each of these questions is worth 20 points. That's the only difference between round one. And again, the two most important rules: wait for me to call your name and say that answer loud and clear into the microphone. Here's our first question in the last round this week, if that makes sense to you. Here we go. What Arizona man was given a new trial after his 1966 Supreme Court case required police to inform arrested suspects of their right to remain silent? Sydney.
Miranda.
That is right. You have the right to 20 points. You're the first to earn some this round. What novel in which a colonel has 17 sons who all bear his first name of Arellano is set in Macondo and was written by Gabriel Garcia Marquez? Katrina.
100 Years of Solitude.
That is correct. Won a Nobel Prize for Literature in '82, and you've got 20 points. What hydrocarbon used as fuel for home barbecues is a straight-chain alkane with molecular formula C3? Sydney.
Coal.
Incorrect. I will finish for Boylan. C3H8. Nick.
Propane.
That is right. Hank Hill will be very proud of you. That's worth 20 points. After what disaster were workers called liquidators used to clean up a site in Pripyat, Ukraine, where in 1986 a Soviet nuclear reactor, Ryan?
Chernobyl.
That's right. That's where that nuclear reactor exploded. Also an HBO series. That's worth a hand move, whatever that was. Nice moves there. 20 points for Oregon. In the U.S., the morning show Despierta America and the drama La Rosa de Guadalupe air on what Spanish-language network that competes with Telemundo? Dylan.
Univision.
That is right. That is the network, and that's 20 points for Boylan. What planet whose Tharsis area contains the shield volcanoes Pavanis Mons and Olympus Mons? Rachel.
Mars.
Rachel?
Mars.
That's right. You
Sorry.
didn't even need the most obvious clue. Covered with iron oxide that colors it red. That's 20 points. Aisha Evans was photographed taking a stand in a 2016 protest in what state capital, where Alton Sterling was killed by police in 2016? Ryan.
Albany.
Incorrect. Boylan, you have a chance for these 20 points. Rachel.
Atlanta.
Incorrect. It's worth a guess, right? Baton Rouge. No points for either team. New question. What river, which flows through Dawson City and Whitehorse before emptying into the Bering Sea, shares its name with the smallest Canadian territory? That's the Yukon River, named after the Yukon Territory. New question. Oracle bones found at Yinshu provided evidence for what earliest historically attested Chinese dynasty, which followed the legendary Xia? Taylor.
Qin.
Incorrect. Boylan. That dynasty was the Shang dynasty, and that is it. Our game is up. Boylan, Oregon kind of matched almost question for question in that last round. Oregon ends with 140, not enough to move on, but Boylan, you are moving on. You are in that final spot in our Sweet 16. Oregon, before we say goodbye, senior send-off time. Who are our seniors? Just Sydney? All right, well, you set a fine example for the rest of your teammates to come back next season and compete. Nice job. Boylan, you move on. You face Durand, which actually was one of our final 4 teams from last season who had a first-round bye. So that will be your next game. Congratulations on moving on. Next week, we begin our Sweet 16 round when Auburn takes on Eastland. We'll see you then.